Hi, my project has to do with Egyptian traditional woodworking, and my cultural practitioner is the Nadim Foundation. So, Egyptian traditional woodworking, in its earlier forms, took place in the Pharaonic period, or which is the earliest period of civilization within Egypt. So, the sort of ideas behind wood within Egyptian societies could sort of started here. So during this period, wood was used as decoration, as aspects of the home, as a, within every aspect of society, you would find wood. But the important thing about wood in the Egyptian context was that it was a precious material because it was not there was not easily grown wood in Egypt, so generally it had to be imported from abroad. So mainly Syria, Lebanon, those areas. And so because it was more precious, the woodworkers tended to try to do the most with the least amount of wood. And so you have this sort of intricacy within woodworking starting from this earlier period. So moving on to the Islamic style, this is where you have, which is this is the basis of where you have sort of what is generally considered Egyptian traditional woodworking and what my cultural practitioner, the Nadim Foundation, mostly focuses on. And so Islamic woodworking actually, it's kind of a misnomer because Islamic woodworking is not necessarily Islamic. It's more of just the woodworking from this period because it combined artisans that were Christian, that were Jewish, that were Muslim all together and creating this sort of shared style. So one of the foundational aspects of this Islamic style is the geometric patterns, which form a basis for a lot of the different designs within Islamic woodworking, as well as you can see here the use of of the use of these small intricate pieces. And so this here is a moshabeya, which is a type of Egyptian traditional window screen, which is one of the most staple points of Egyptian traditional woodworking. So you see all these little interlaced pieces, which actually are put together without the use of any nails. They're actually just it's sort of like a Lego put together all throughout to make this window screen, and which had a very specific purpose because especially it allowed people to from the inside to see out, but not necessarily from the outside to see in. So my cultural practitioner is the Nadim Foundation, which is currently run by Hind Mustafa and Adam Nadim. So the foundation was founded originally by, I believe it was Adam Nadim's father, Asad Nadim, who um, who sort of got the idea of a foundation that would both produce wood and produce like that would both a commercial organization that would like sell wood like handmade wood, but also preserve these traditional techniques. So Asad Didim, and I unfortunately I don't have a photo of him. Um, he he sort of he found this idea when he was working on his PhD at AUC in the 70s, where and his PhD was on Egyptian traditional woodworking. And what he would do to learn about it is that he would go to these workshops near Moaz Street in Islamic Cairo and meet with the Ustawayat, like the master carpenters, and meet with them, discussing their styles. And even during this period, you sort of saw like the slow death of Egyptian traditional woodworking. And so by creating this foundation, Aslan Nadim he sought to take he would hired these masters and sought to bring them into a more modern company so that they're able to really survive with the modern world. And so that is what the Nadim Foundation sort of is. It's like a modern company that uses these old styles, these old techniques. So to explain more about that, the Nadim Foundation today they have a large factory in 6th of October where they produce all of these goods. So one aspect of the factory is focusing on the traditional craft, and another aspect is focusing on the more modern stuff. So when it has to do with the traditional craft, a lot of the basis for the traditional craft, as I said, is within these geometric patterns. So when I went to the Nadim Foundation, they explained these things, where basically each pattern, each shape within these larger interlocking shapes has its own name and its own way of being made. So this shape here is called kenda, which is this diamond-like shape, which, as you can see here, is interspersed with these with these other shapes here. This more star pattern is called the loza. This more star pattern is called the terrace, and this pattern, as you can see, where is it? As you can see here, this smaller pattern is called the loza, and all put together, they form a lot of the basis for these complex geometric patterns. So if you go to the Nadim Foundation today, you can see how they make each piece with the knowledge of exactly what they are. Like they make different lozas, they make different terraces, they make different kenda, and they put them together in these different patterns. So and they're using and the traditional workshops, they're using like these techniques that have been grown since the Islamic period. So these are like 1,000 years old. And to this day, they also are able to preserve the techniques for making the mashrubeya. So as I said before, you can see these interlocking patterns. Well, today, this is how at the Nadim Foundation, how they actually make them. So there's all these different little pieces that they put together to make these much larger window screens. And so these are pictures of their actual factory, which I took. And you can see just the degree of detail. And even beyond just preserving the techniques, they also preserve the sort of the way they preserve the heritage of how you become a master. So they have a system of apprenticeships, and eventually you work as an apprentice to the point that you become a master, and you're able to to know all of this in real depth, and that all comes back to what Asad Nadim's founded back then. So in addition to the traditional workshops, which which they do sell. Actually, they do sell these things as making like for instance, you can buy an interior design in your home, and they'll put these aspects into your home, and they also use them for preservation causes. But other than just the traditional craft, the Nadim Foundation also has this more commercial aspect called Kenda Interiors. And so, as you know, as I said before, Kenda actually comes from the shape, which is one of the base shapes within Islamic design. So Kenda Interiors, they make more modern things like couches and upholstery. However, it's still very much connected to these traditional to this traditional workshop. It still uses the apprentice system. It's very much each thing works on its own, but is also interconnected. And so another big aspect of what Nadim Foundation does today is custom work for big buyers. So they create these large doors. So these two doors, this one and this one are actually ordered by the government, and are going to be placed within the new capital. And this door here is actually on the Nadim Foundation factory. And so you can order all of these custom designed pieces, which incorporate aspects of Islamic design and it's able to be possible because they have all this heritage of they have all of these techniques preserved within their factory. So they're able to accurately give you an Islamic design or a door that's beautifully portraying these old patterns and these old techniques. So going on from there, I want to emphasize how deeply connected the family history of the Nadim family there itself is to their modern project. So so this is within the Nadim Foundation factory. They have a museum of their family, and they're an old family, and so just as they see preserving Egypt's cultural heritage within the factory, they also are focused on preserving their own family heritage. So within this, you can see like the old photos of their family. a sort of like a museum of all of these things, because as a group that practices heritage preservation, they expanded to include many aspects of heritage, including family history. So thank you for listening, and I'm going to have more of this in detail in my paper, which you will read. Okay, that's it.